Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most, let's be honest, nerve-wracking things we all go through, getting hired. We're going to map out the entire candidate's journey, right from the second a job is posted to your very first day. So, let's dive in.
You know the feeling. You spend hours, maybe even days, getting your resume just right. You find that dream job, you hit apply, and then silence. It can seriously feel like your application just disappeared into a black hole, right? Well, I promise you it didn't. There's a very specific, structured process happening on the other side, and we're going to trace every single step.
So to really understand this journey, we have to start with the basic idea of recruitment itself. I love this quote from Edwin Flippo because it gets to the heart of it. It's not a passive thing where companies just wait around. No, it's an active process. They are out there searching for talent and this is the key part, encouraging them to apply. You can almost think of it like the company's big marketing campaign for a job.
Now, it's really easy to just lump the whole hiring thing into one big bucket. But there's a super important distinction we need to make right from the get-go. The journey is really split into two main phases. You've got the search for candidates, which is recruitment, and then you've got the choice of who to hire, which is selection. They're two sides of the very same coin.
This slide really illustrates what I mean perfectly. Think of it like a giant funnel. Recruitment is all about making the top of that funnel as wide as humanly possible. You want to attract a big, diverse pool of qualified people. Selection, on the other hand, is the process of slowly, methodically narrowing that pool down, filtering it step by step until only the single best candidate is left standing.
So the big question is, how do companies actually build that pool in the first place? Where do they go to cast the net, so to speak, and find people just like you? This is all about the search phase.
And what this flowchart shows so well is that this is anything but random. It's not just throwing darts at a board. Long before a single job ad goes live, there's planning, there's strategy. Companies are analyzing the job, figuring out the exact skills they need, and then building a very specific plan for how they're going to find the right person.
Okay, so the strategy is set. The plan is in motion. Where do the recruiters actually go hunting for talent? Well, the answer is kind of everywhere. But their search really follows two main paths.
Companies can either look inward to their internal sources, or they can look outward to external sources. And you'll find that most companies use a healthy mix of both, because each path has its own unique advantages. First, let's talk about looking inside the house, internal sources. This means looking at the people who already work there for promotions or transfers. It also includes employee referrals, which, let me tell you, are absolute gold to recruiters. Why? Because a trusted team member is personally vouching for that person. They might even look at people who applied for other jobs in the past. It's often faster, cheaper, and it's a fantastic way to boost team morale.
And then, of course, you have the great wide world outside. This is the stuff we're all probably most familiar with, right? Seeing ads on job boards and scrolling past them on social media. But it's also more than that. It includes things like recruiting on college campuses, using headhunters or professional agencies, and showing up at job fairs. This is how companies bring in fresh blood, new skills, and brand new ways of thinking.
Okay, the net has been cast. The applicant pool is full. Now the real challenge begins, at least for the candidate. Welcome to the selection gauntlet. This is where the company starts the tough job of narrowing down all those choices to find their one perfect match. And here is that funnel we talked about, in action. It starts with screening maybe hundreds, sometimes thousands of applications just to filter out the people who aren't a good fit. Then comes a preliminary interview, usually just a quick phone call. If you pass that, you might move on to selection tests and then the more serious, in-depth interviews. And finally, if you make it through all of that, they'll check your references before making that final amazing offer. You see how each step eliminates more and more people?
So let's talk about those selection tests. What are they? Well, one of the most common types is a proficiency test, and these are pretty simple. They're designed to measure what you can do right now. They test skills you already have. A classic example is a typing test for an admin job, or maybe a coding challenge for a developer. It's all about proving you've got the goods to do the job today.
But, and this is a big but, companies don't just care about what you can do today. They're also thinking about your potential for tomorrow. And that's where aptitude tests come in. These aren't about what you already know. They measure your ability to learn and develop new skills. They're trying to figure out if you have the capacity to grow with the company.
So you make it to the interview stage. Awesome, but you've got to be ready for anything. It could be a really direct, straightforward Q&A, or it might be a panel interview where you're sitting across from a whole group of people at once. And in some fields, you might even get a stress interview where they, intentionally crank up the pressure just to see how you handle it. So you did it. You survived the gauntlet. You totally impressed them in the interviews. Your references said amazing things, and you've got that offer letter in your hand. But believe it or not, the journey isn't quite over yet.
The very first official step after you say yes is called placement. And this is just the formal process of assigning you to your specific role. It's the moment you stop being just a new hire and officially become a member of a particular team with a designated job title and a clear set of responsibilities. It's when it all becomes real.
And finally, the last step, induction, or what pretty much all of us call orientation. This is your official welcome party. It's designed to introduce you to how things work, the company culture, all the policies, and of course your new team. It's a really crucial step to make sure you feel like you belong and you're set up for success.
So we've walked through this entire journey, from that first job ad all the way to your first official day. But why? Why is this sometimes grueling, multi-step process so incredibly important?
Well, it really boils down to this. Getting this process right is a huge win for everybody. For the company, it means they're finding and hiring competent, motivated people who are actually going to help them succeed. And for you, the employee, it means you're landing in a role where you can genuinely contribute, grow, and build an amazing career. It's the foundation for everything that comes next.
So, now that we've demystified this whole hiring thing, think about it for a second. Think about your own strengths. Which part of that gauntlet are you most prepared for? Is it your perfectly polished resume, your knack for acing those skill tests, or your cool confidence in the interview room? Because knowing the map is the first step, for sure, but knowing how to navigate it with your strengths, well, that changes everything.